Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am very excited to be having a conversation with singer Tanner Massey. Thank you so much for joining me and being on my show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's get started. My first question for you is what song do you consider to be the gold standard of storytelling and songwriting?
The gold standard. Well, I guess it depends with what kind of atmosphere you're building with your song, because there's a lot of songs that do that for me. I would say one really good example for storytelling would probably be, wow, it would probably be American Pie, I would say.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
probably like one of the best examples of storytelling that I could think of in a song. It's a really long song too, but
yeah,
it describes an entire story, obviously about tragic events and everything that happened back then. So it's I would say that's like the gold standard of like something really deep being put into a song, into a full message across like what is it like an 8 minute song or something like that? Or am I crazy?
yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
six
it's
something
like,
minute song.
yeah, 8 or 10 minutes long, something like that.
It might even be longer, yeah. So I would say that that is what I would call the gold standard. But obviously, like you'll have smaller songs that will maybe tell stories in unique ways, different kinds of ways. And it really just depends on the feeling it elicits from whatever you're listening to, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what three words best describe you?
Ah, man. That is tough. That is a tough thing.
Yeah.
I would say, man, putting it into one word, I would say probably like, hmm, I would say one is loyal. I definitely am that, if not anything else. I've always had a tough time making friends in my life, and the few people that I can call my friends, I like to be really good to because I guess somewhere deep down, I don't really want to lose them. I don't want to end up how I was before whenever I was younger, where I was just pretty much a loner for the most of my life. So that's one thing. I would say another would probably be like I would love to say honest, but the thing is that I lie about the dumbest things. I'll lie about something really dumb, like I'll tell my mom that oh, by the way, we went to see this movie today that she's been wanting to see for ages, and I'm like, and she'll get like mad, and I'll just do it just to nip at her. I can't say that. Man, this is a tough question. This is a really tough question. I should have had something for this. But I would say, I know this isn't one word, and there's probably a much better word for it, but like kind of in my own head a lot of the times. I know it's not one word, and I know there's definitely a better word for that. But I definitely overthink things a lot, and people can probably see it on my face, especially when I'm learning something, like I'm being taught something. I am very much trying to get it into my muscle memory, or I'm trying to understand a situation. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, what can I say that will make this person not hate me, basically? And I tend to overthink things quite a bit. But for a third word, I would just say, I'm just going to say a cop out answer. I'm just going to say, like, cool.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
love that. Yeah. Yeah, and I can definitely relate to the finding like having trouble like finding your group of
Yeah.
people and then also overthinking. Also, I am a big overthinker. So
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know if you can, I don't know if anyone is egotistical enough to call themselves cool. So we're just going to leave that one out. Two
okay,
words that I would describe myself as.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So who has had the biggest impact on the person you have become?
That would be pretty easy, I think, for the most part. That would be my father. If we're talking like if we're talking like song singers and stuff like that, like musical influences, that would obviously be something different because nobody in my family is musical at all. But my father is definitely had the most influence as me as a person. He's pushed me to he's pushed me the hardest of anyone in my life. He's put me out there as a singer. He pretty much put me into this world of music, even though he'd never done it himself. He basically pushed me to continue on with, being a singer and living my dream whenever I thought it was, maybe impossible, or maybe I just didn't have the work and the motivation to do it in my bones, especially being like 12 years old. So I would say my dad has had the most influence, even whenever it comes to things like I was talking about before, overthinking, taking a lot of things into account into a situation before I go into it. Just all kinds of things I've learned from my dad. Obviously, like my mother and everything too, but my dad's always been like the one that pushes me. Basically, I learned a lot of stuff from him.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what is the most challenging part of being on The Voice?
The most challenging part, well, honestly, the most challenging part would probably be, like, as simple as it sounds, just the act of singing on the stage itself. That's probably the most difficult part of it. Like, it's not too smoke and mirrors with how it works. For the most part, like what you see is pretty much what you get. But the thing is, behind the scenes, you're making all these friends. It's a great time. Like, it is a wonderful time. You're making a lot of friends, you're making a lot of connections. You're singing with people, you're singing kumbaya by the fire, with all your friends. It's a wonderful time. The only thing is that when it's time to work, whenever you got to get up there on that stage, you got to bring it, because it's there's a lot of pressure. I would say that. And I would say, for my blind, for example, like, there was a lot of pressure on me during my blind. It was basically the moment I felt like my life was leading up to. And if I didn't make a moment there, then I couldn't. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done afterwards. Not gonna lie. I don't know what mentality or what thought process I would have gone through afterwards if I, like, didn't get a chair turn, for example. But it definitely probably would have been hard on me. Even though I was like under the mindset, oh, you know, at least I get to show people what I do or something like that. I don't know how I would have thought about it afterwards. So I would say the most difficult thing is just getting up there and just doing it itself, as simple as that might sound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so how do you motivate yourself on your days when you aren't really feeling it?
That's what's funny is I don't. I just wait until maybe I get a small spark of motivation, or I have to take the dogs out or something, and then I get out of bed. And then I'm motivated to do stuff. No. No, for like motivation, for example, there is a lot of, like, it has always been pretty difficult for me to motivate myself. I think partially because I have always been self-motivating for the most part. And I don't know, I'm kind of working on a cycle that kind of feeds into itself. I have always been a person that needs other people to be there to kind of, push me along and make me better than who I am, even if they're not like directly pushing me, like my father, for example. It's just people that I don't want to disappoint, basically. I kind of need that circle around me, or people to even look up to. And I've never really had that exactly. So I really enjoyed having that on The Voice. That's for sure. Having that has been incredible. But before The Voice, it's really difficult to self motivate. My biggest recommendation is you have to get out there. You have to make friends. You have to be with people that make you want to become better. You need to. It's you're a lot of who you are is defined by the people you surround yourself with. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people that make you want to make healthy choices.
Yeah, I love that. Um, so do you have any irrational fears?
It's funny you say that. I don't know if you like read my mind or something, but like, yes, I definitely have a big one and a really weird one at that. Um, for some reason, and this is like this falls into the realm of phobia almost, I would say. I guess I have, I don't know what I can't remember what the phobia is called, but it's the one where you're in a situation that you feel like you can't get out of and like you panic because you can't get out of it. You in your head know that there's nothing going on. There's nothing happening that's going to hurt you. But for some reason there's just an overwhelming sense of dread. For example, if I'm in, and this is weird and this gets into like the weirdest territory because I don't even know what this is exactly. But randomly, whenever I was downtown in Oklahoma City, in Bricktown, I looked up. I was next to the Oklahoma City Dodgers Stadium. I looked up at the big light that baseball stadiums have over them. You know what I'm talking about, right? And
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
reason, I imagined myself like almost falling into the sky in a weird way. And for some reason, that just it almost sent me into a panic attack. Isn't that is crazy? But ever since that moment, whenever I was like 12 or something, that I had that weird irrational thought and fear, it plagued me for a long time. Now it's a lot better now, and I almost don't even notice it at this point. But it still sometimes creeps up on me, and it's crazy how the mind works. I have no idea why that is the case. Um, it's like I've tricked myself into thinking that something terrible is going to happen, maybe because of some other kind of fear I have. But that would be my rational fear. It's like a weird fear of just being in a place that I feel like I can't get out of, and that my fear is just going to like start doubling, tripling, and quadrupling because I can't get out of the place, and something is intrinsically scaring me, and I don't know what it is exactly. It's weird.
I have I feel like I have a ton of irrational fears that the way my mind works is it just like spins into like the worst case scenario and I get so freaked out and then my is like either my mom or my sister have to tell me you're being irrational. That's not going to happen.
100%. And this is just how the mind works in general. I think most people have this to some extent with something. Um, Whether it's like my father was in the Air Force. He has a fear of flying.
Oh
Like
wow.
it's fascinating. I obviously have a fear of spiders, even though I know in my mind that most spiders are not really harmful to humans, and even the ones that are harmful to humans are very unlikely to actually bite you and poison you. And even then, it's like we just there's something about our instinct that just makes us like terrified of things that aren't really threats to us. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what is the best concert you've ever been to?
Best concert I have ever been to. That would fall between two. That would I would I would say probably the Ed Sheeran concert I went to recent, not she recently, but pretty recently, in Dallas.
Oh,
I think
cool.
it's part of his mathematics or divide tour, one of them. But yeah, it was incredible. Watching Ed Sheeran, he was running around the stage with his guitar while there's like a float, like a what do you call it? Like there was a ring around him that was like going around him, and he was walking on it. It was so cool. How that man
Cool.
has so much lung capacity, I do not understand.
Yeah.
He did like I think it was like a 3 hour and a half set, and
Wow.
he's just singing the whole time. He's running around. It's insane.
Yeah.
No, I think Ed Sheeran is probably up there as one of like the better performers I've ever seen, like one of the best. Because anyone that has that level of endurance and can work a crowd as well as he did, there's something special going on there.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Um, so what do you wish people better understood about you?
Um, well, I would say for one thing, when it comes to stuff like TV and media and all that kind of thing, I generally tend to like freeze up in a sense where I don't want to show too much of who I really am to people. But there's a part of me that also really wants to do that. I just don't know how to, basically. For example, I will, when I'm asked a question that I feel like I could answer in a way that is like true to me, I'll oftentimes say something that I just would say is like the safest answer. The safest thing that people will be like, okay, he's not crazy. He's not a weird, crazy person.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what I'll default to whenever asked something that's even remotely like nuanced. I will just say something that's just okay. Yep, that's basically it. If I'm asked, oh, who's like the coolest person on this season of The Voice, I'm like, oh, I think they're all really cool, and like a part of me wants to be more like interesting whenever it comes to TV and stuff, but there's another part of me that's just like, okay, just don't be weird, don't be a weirdo, and I am weird. I am a weirdo. So a lot of times I'm not really myself whenever it comes to media generally. And I hope someday able to open up a little bit more and kind of be myself and not be scared of like people, thinking I'm some crazy person, some weirdo online. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
And yeah,
Uh,
I just would want people to know that there's probably a little bit more going on there than what I show sometimes.
yeah. Yeah. Um, so when or where do you feel most like your authentic self?
I would say with my family. That is definitely the most authentic version of me. But there's also like another part, like I'm different around different people. Around my friends at The Voice, for example, I would be very much like different than how I would be here. I would be like an enhanced version of myself, I think. Around my family, I can kind of do whatever I want. We don't really have any like boundaries at this point because we just know each other so well. My family's like lived together like collectively. My nuclear family, we have lived together in like the same house for a really long time, so we can pretty much do whatever we want. We know each other, and we know we're not going to like, even if we push each other's buttons, we're not going to like make someone like really mad, like exceptionally like weirded out by each other. So I can pretty much do whatever I want around them. But around friends, I still want to, there's still that level of me where I'm like, okay, well, even though I know these people, I still want to like make a good impression to them. And I still want to like generally be like better for them. So I would say I'm most comfortable around both my friends and family, to be honest with you. But it just depends what way you look at it, really.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so what is your favorite song to perform?
My favorite, ooh, I love this question. Love that. Love that. My favorite song to perform is probably Who Did That to You by John Legend, but it's John Legend's version. It's a song from Django, which is an interesting place to get the song from. But I don't know why. I go ham on this song.
Yeah.
I go wild on this song. I don't know what it is about it, but it brings out some sort of crazy emotion from me, and the tone that I use on it, I really enjoy using. And it's like this soulful, like sarcastic side of me that's just like, oh, and it's really kind of coarse. It it's really cool to do. I love doing that song. It's my favorite to perform for sure. Who Did That to You by John Legend. John Legend's version at least. I know there was multiple versions.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to look that up after our interview. I haven't heard that, so
Yeah. And I guess technically it's John Legend's version, but the cover done by or not Shawn Mendes, Sean James, who has always been one of my favorite artists generally. He's a very soulful, folky singer who basically kind of gave me that soulful aspect to my singing. I wouldn't have had that if I didn't listen to an artist named Sean James.
Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so is there a song that you currently have on repeat?
Actually, yes, I do. And I have many. I'd be careful asking a question like that. Let me tell you. I can go on for hours. In fact, I have my Spotify right here, and I have like 4 songs that I already want to tell you. But one big one for me, I think, right now is oh my gosh, Godlight by Noah Khan. Love that song. Oh my gosh, I actually literally just heard this song not too long ago, but it is so incredible. I also, yeah, there's so many I have. I listened to Mara Justine's version of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, or her blind audition by Elton John. I've listened to that a million times. Like it is so good. Um,
Oh,
so yeah,
cool.
I have a lot more songs I could tell you, but I would say Godlight by Noah Khan. It's just such an incredible vibe. I love the feeling and sound of the song. And there's not many that do it like there's not many people that do songs like Noah Khan can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of 1989 Taylor's version.
Yep.
So that's been on repeat mostly. And then Alec Benjamin's new song, Different Kind of Beautiful.
I didn't know he had a new song.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that song.
I've also been listening to a bunch of Clinton Kane. Love that dude
Oh,
as well.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, I could again hours,
yeah.
hours. I could go over all the songs I've been listening to, even just
Yeah,
recently.
me
So
too. Yeah. There's actually a song it's called Wish You Loved You by an artist named ADMT. That I've been listening to a lot. That just came out. Um and yeah, so I have a ton of music too that I could
don't we all?
just yeah, talk about for hours.
Yeah, no, I definitely have a lot of that stuff, but I again I will go on for too long, so spare that.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so what in your life brings you the most joy?
Like I would love to tell you some profound answer that would be like really cool and unique, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Just being on the stage, being on like especially a big stage like at The Voice, and being able to sing for just incredible artists that have had their legendary careers already, and that kind of feeling and like having all of the work that I put into my music and everything, having that be like acknowledged, that is probably the best joy I can think of because it's the hard work you're putting in, and then it's the like the relief of actually having maybe a chair turn or getting stolen, um and it's that coupled with like the friends I've made there, like just being able to perform on a big stage is probably my biggest like thing, the most joy I get because I love to sing, love to play guitar, love to like have a big sound being put over a big speaker system, and I seeing people's faces like light up whenever I sing or anything like that is always gonna make my day, make my year. So
Oh, I
yeah.
love that. Yeah. So I love inspiring and motivational quotes, and this week the quote that is inspiring me is life is like a camera, focus on what's important, capture the good times, develop from the negatives, and if things don't work out, just take another shot. Um,
Love that.
yeah.
Love
Um,
that.
is there a quote that inspires you?
Ah, there definitely was. And I know it was, no, there's a lot of quotes, except my brain is going to blank on them right now because I need them actually for once.
Yeah.
Um, ugh, I just pull out like Forrest Gump, like life is about. No, okay. I need something. Because I know that there were quotes that I was like, I would have to. I'll have to. I might have to get back to you on that one because I know
Okay.
that there is a quote that I was like, this is my quote. This is like it, and of course I've forgotten it now.
Yeah.
Whenever I actually need it.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. When I'm asked a question, my mind just goes blank, even if I know what I
Yeah, and
um
that is definitely this case right now.
yeah.
I'll be trying to remember this quote forever.
Yeah. You can just send it to me when you remember.
Yes, that's what I'll do. I'll send you like a video of me just like saying like some random quote by like Mark Twain or something, and I'll just be like, and that is don't wish on a star, be a star. And you can just put that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, that was my last question for you, and I've had so much fun talking with you. I really appreciate your taking the time, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do here
Thank you.
at every single thing. So and I really appreciate you having me on this interview today. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.